Our next speaker is Vicky Meyer, and her session is entitled Doing Things Differently. So Vicky joined IFYS in October 2015, and after 12 years with the Queensland Government, Vicky has worked, after 12 years with Queensland Government. Vicky has worked with the government, not-for-profit and private sectors in the UK and Australia, and in a range of roles and across multiple practice areas including child protection, housing, disability and youth justice. She is the business engagement leader for IFYS, and in her role, she works closely with organisations, social enterprises. She is committed to ensuring young men and women who have not had the best start in life have the opportunity to build better futures for themselves. And so I'm stalling a little while just while we get a presentation sorted. But look, I'm just going to bring Vicky out here and put her on the spot, and she can explain to you what IFYS is until the presentation's ready. Please give her a hand. Thank you.
Hello. Oh, I'm a bit short, so I'm just going to pull that down a little bit. There we go. Hope everyone can hear. We've got a presentation which we wanted to share with you today, but we've had a few technical issues, so hopefully it will come up on the screen at some stage soon. I'm hoping to get the nod from that side. Don? Great. Okay. Good to go. All right. So I just wanted to talk to you just a little bit about our social enterprises. So IFYS is a community organisation on the Sunshine Coast. And there we go. So just a bit about our organisation. So IFYS stands for Integrated Family and Youth Services, which is why we use IFYS. It's a bit shorter and less of a mouthful. Primarily our work involves child protection, so as you can see from the graph just on the screen there, it's about 60% of our business actually revolves around child protection work, and that's what we're primarily funded for. So that involves 2 foster care services in Cairns and the Sunshine Coast, and a number of residential services as well. About a quarter of our business focuses on disability, and then we've got a number of community engagement programs, young parents programs and the like. So I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. So in terms of IFYS, we've been around for about 36 years. We are on the Sunshine Coast, or that's where our head office is, but we are a statewide organisation, so we've got facilities from Cairns through to Toowoomba. And I guess our primary focus is supporting the community, young people, children, families, and those living with a disability as well. It's really a community organisation embedded in the community. When we look at all of our programs, they have a really key theme, and that's accommodation, because without accommodation, people really struggle to engage in any form of work. In addition to that, as I've mentioned, we do have a range of programs, so they offer financial services, counselling, mediation, disability supports, health, employment, education, mentoring, and family and parent programs, as well as our foster care service. Probably the biggest growth we've seen over the last year or so is around the employment and education programs. As I've said already, we do have a statewide presence. It's a medium-sized organisation, so we've got about 230 full-time staff, as well as part-time staff and casuals. And we also have a lot of volunteers. So we have 250 foster carers from our Cairns through to the Sunshine Coast service, which we couldn't operate without those volunteers. What we found over the years, though, is really important to try and reduce our reliance on government funding. Like many social enterprises or community organisations, we're really dependent on departmental funding from state and federal government. So more recently in our strategic plan, we've been really looking at how we build self-reliance through our social enterprises, which I'll show you a little bit of now. So our social enterprises, we call them not-for-dividend businesses because any dividends go back into the organisation in terms of supporting the programs for disadvantaged people. We make sure that these returns go into a whole range of programs, and that really is about the mission of our organisation, as the slide says. We really pride ourselves around the integrity of our programs, the opportunities that we provide, but first and foremost, the businesses have to be profitable. And I think the speakers this morning already have mentioned that these are businesses, social enterprises aren't programs. Our profits go back into those programs that support those that are marginalised in our society. They don't necessarily work in our social enterprises though. So we've got a couple of social enterprises that we wanted to share with you today. So one of the areas that we pride ourselves in is around our food and service strategy. So Urban Deli and Cafe. So we bought this, must be about a year ago, and it was a truck stop. It sold Chico rolls, greasy food. It was fantastic, had a great clientele, and we went in and did a bit of a reno on a pretty low budget, and are now building up that clientele. So it's based in an industrial area. So we've got a lot of local businesses that have become dependent on us. We also offer a catering company from the deli, which has been harder to establish. And I think one of the lessons that we've learnt, which we'll go into in a little bit, is about making sure your product's your key message that you get out first. It's not the social enterprise. If you don't have a good product, and I have to say, the coffee at the deli to begin with was appalling. We brought in coffee suppliers, we brought in baristas, but no one really knew how to make a good coffee. So it did take us a while to step up in terms of our coffee making ability. This is where we try and encourage young people to come and work, to gain some skills around job readiness. It's not that they're going to go on to be baristas necessarily or work in hospitality, but it's developing those soft skills that employers are looking for. So we see the cafe really as the cornerstone for our social enterprises. That's Richard there pictured with one of his amazing dishes. And out the back of the deli, we've recently developed a community kitchen, so we can support our emergency relief program by preparing nutritious, low-cost meals. And instead of giving our community vouchers to go down to the local supermarket, we're now offering meals. Those meals are cooked by volunteers and have an amazing take-up so far. I'm hoping now the technology works and I can show you a short video which really explains another one of our programs. That's okay.
IFYS, through our social enterprise My Gardener, works to engage unemployed people in a real job that gives them the opportunity to understand that an important element of enduring employment is based upon our development of hard skills that are attractive to employers. This opportunity not only affords our employees the development of essential attitudes, but a place where they can enjoy a strong sense of belonging, pride and purpose.
Okay, I'm just going to talk to you about another couple of initiatives that we run as well. So that was our gardening program, and I know quite a few people here today are running a similar program. Our printing program's slightly different, so I'll just tell you a little bit about that. So we've been running a printing division for about 20 years on the coast. And it has not only a good reputation, but really good products. We've done a series of publications from educational books through to comics and everything in between. We then established a print house a couple of years ago. So it is our oldest social enterprise and probably our most well-known social enterprise. We sell books on our website that we've published, and certainly that side of the business has been very profitable over the last few years. We moved into a side of printing that we hadn't explored a few years ago, probably about 3 years ago now, and set up Urban Dog Tees. It's our lovely mascot, the big ugly bulldog. We've been running that, as I say, for about 3 years, and that really sells a whole range of products, marketing material, from T-shirts to water bottles and everything in between, key rings, everything that you see here on tables as giveaways, we use and print as well. This is one of the most engaging social enterprises in terms of the young people that we support. The print shop attracts everybody. We have on average about 6 young people working there at any one time. Our clientele provide us with the young people, so we don't have any issues in terms of going out and getting young people to engage in our social enterprise. I know the previous speaker talked about data and collecting data to maintain that and make sure that we know what the end results are. One of the problems I think we have in our print shop and our T-shirts in particular is we can talk about the numbers and the outputs in terms of young people who are engaged, but the outcomes for me are more important. We've seen young people who have turned up, and our clientele tend to be children in foster care or residential care. We've had to educate young people coming to the workplace on how to brush their teeth, to wear underwear, from basic things that you take for granted all the way through to what a timesheet looks like, how you're going to spend your first pay packet. One of the most heartening stories for me was a young man who was only 14. He dropped out of school at 12, started work at Urban Dog Tees and decided to spend his first pay packet on a wallet. So he obviously had high hopes in terms of gaining more money into the future. And when I look at him now, he's an amazing young man who's just grown in maturity and is ready now to go into the workforce. We do try and transition young people from Urban Dog Tees into the workforce, but because it provides a safe environment, it's very easy to stay there. We made one mistake when we first set up in terms of having a social worker working alongside us, but we found that young people just pathologise in terms of their history and their abuse and neglect and stopped getting on with the work. So we've absolutely made it a workforce, which I think has actually improved things significantly. So I'm going to try and show you a video, which is one of my favourites, of some young people working in our print shop. So you can not only see the environment in which we work, but hear from some young people as to why they think it's important.
Worked here at Urban Dog Tees for about a good 12 months at least. I really enjoy the work. It gets me out of the house, it keeps my mind preoccupied. I get into work, I know what I have to do.
I've been working here about 3 months now. Today I've done tagging, cutting, bagging, folding.
My favourite job would probably be the T-shirts, because I know exactly what I have to do. I just get in, punch it all out, and next thing you know, a couple of hours have flown past and it doesn't even feel like it. And you look at what you've done, you've got like 50, 60 T-shirts there, you feel pretty good about it.
This has been a special opportunity for me that I don't think most people get to have. I think it would be really good if more companies offer to have children who leave care these types of opportunities, because many of us come from a bad past, so this helps teach us how to work well with others, how to drag yourself out of bed in the morning to get to work, make sure you can do everything correct so that once we leave here and we actually go out and get a job for ourselves, that we're already ready for it.
For people that are a little bit disadvantaged, this is definitely a great opportunity to learn some life skills, especially if you don't really have a lot of life skills. I just like the vibe. There's a really good vibe to this place. Everyone just knows what they're doing. Everyone just gets in and punches through their work, and it's just really good. And there's good communication in here. Almost every single day we stop for a couple of minutes and someone's usually got something like quite a funny comment. We'll just kind of stand around and giggle our asses off for a little bit, so it's really good. Yeah, I've been here for a long time now, and it's like definitely built some really good social skills. I wouldn't usually have conversations with even older blokes, like some of the blokes in here. They're really good mentors. Got a lot to teach, got a lot to learn here at this place. Can set you up with some life skills you can take with you into the future and make a career out of it. There's definitely some good stuff going on here. I'm Jason Tenardi, I'm 18 years old. I live in Palmwoods, Queensland.
My name's Alex and I'm 19 years old. I'm a provisional black belt who studies a Cert 3 in Animal Science.
My name's Jordan Robinson Holt and I live in Sippy Downs on the Sunshine Coast.
It still makes me smile because having known some of those young people for several years, they're amazing. And with nearly 45,000 young people in care in in Australia, and nearly 10,000 in Queensland, they all need a helping hand in terms of employment. So those are some of our young people, and I don't think there's any better way to illustrate what social enterprises do for young people than having them explain for themselves what the outcomes are for them. You can't capture that on paper. It's not a figure that you can write down or a number. For those young people, it's been a journey and it still continues to be a journey. Just going to give you a couple of really last key points from our perspective in terms of what we've learned. So in terms of business, getting your own business is a real romantic idea, and I guess probably the thing that we've learned, and we've had a litany of businesses that have succeeded and failed over the years. Lots of small businesses don't succeed. So whilst it sounds romantic, we had a woman come in to speak to us the other day who was an emergency relief client who had come out of a divorce with 1.2 million. She now owes 800,000. She set up a boutique and it failed within a year. So just illustrates that you can go from riches to rags very quickly. No surprise in terms of lessons around small businesses, you've got to have a niche market. Your customer is king. You've got to be in touch with what the customer needs. As I said, our coffee was appalling to begin with. We've improved, thankfully, so we are getting business in that respect. You've got to have a profitable business model, and you've got to have good financial management and leadership. When you run a social enterprise as part of a community organisation, you've got to tackle the community organisations' concept of community and running not-for-profit organisations with running a business. And there's always a little bit of a rub there. We've been really lucky in terms of securing a major contract with a car dealership. You may have seen some of their T-shirts and products being printed. And they've supported us through thick and thin. Without that contract, I think we probably would have gone under. And certainly securing those big contracts has made a difference in terms of our longevity so far. When we talk about social enterprises, lots of people want to sell our story first as opposed to the business. If the business doesn't work and the product's no good, people won't come back. We found really importantly that the social story, or the story that we tell, and our websites talk about our philosophy and our ethos, but it's right at the back page, it's at the bottom. Our products are absolutely first. If you go to Urban Dog Tees, you see the T-shirts, you see the products. We deliver quality products. And what we do in terms of supporting disadvantaged young people in employment is a secondary aspect of our business. It's what drives us, and it's our values and it's our heart, but it's actually not what sells the product. I think that adage, Rome wasn't built in a day, is very true. Again, as I mentioned, there is always a rub between a community organisation and a business, and the business wants to buy new equipment to keep up with the marketplace, and the community organisation is saying, well, hang on a minute, you've already got a printing machine, why do you need another one? So there's always that tension, I guess, that we have to work through. And it takes time. As I said, we've had businesses that have succeeded and failed, and our print shop's been around for 20 odd years, which so it shows longevity, but not all of our businesses have been that successful. Consistency has been really key. We turn up every day, we make sure we open that shop with a smile. If we didn't, people would walk away. We need to analyse our competition as well. You've got to have a niche market, but you've also got to be competitive. Again, going back to our cafe, our food's expensive, but we sell gourmet. Does gourmet sell in where we are in an industrial estate? Not necessarily, so we've got to grow that area in terms of our catering. Finally, a message for everyone today who's thinking about small business. Be fearless. It's great. It drives us in the mornings, we get up, it's like our own business quite often. But it's pretty daunting, so if you're thinking of going into it, fantastic, and if you can support young people through that, even better. Thank you for your time today.